Okay, but Samantha, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. We are, I think, week 6 or week 7 of our 10-week program. And this week is all about sales. And we're really excited to learn about how you've leveraged social media to build your company. But first, do you want to start off and share a little bit around your background, how you created hot and spicy shrimps, and where the company is at now?
So my name's Sam. I'm the founder of Hot and Juicy Shrimp London. We've been around for 3 years now. My background has always been in basically creating social companies on social media and like generating high revenue from Instagram. So I started Hot and Juicy Shrimp 3 years ago with my business partner, and since then we've literally dominated the boil bag scene in the UK. So yeah.
What did the first 6 months or so look like for you? What made you want to go into the food and beverage industry?
So I've always enjoyed cooking, but for me, I never envisioned it as something that was going to generate like 6-7 figures. I just thought, oh, I like cooking, and then, I had open heart surgery, and my recovery took a long time because I had complications. So in that time, I wasn't able to work. So I thought, okay, well, I might as well try and do something from home where because you start it, your pay goes down to like statutory sick, which is next to nothing after some months. So that's where, the idea to start Hot and Juicy, where it was birthed from, it was basically downtime. I tried seafood boils in America. I realized there was a huge gap in the market. And I also noticed that UK tends to follow the trends of America when it comes to things that are trending. So I thought it's the perfect time to infiltrate the market then, because no one was basically doing it. I think it was like 2 other companies in the UK. So yeah, that's how it started. The first 6 months, it literally went from each weekend we doubled in sales.
Uh-oh, I think you just...
Everyone's frozen.
Oh, you're back.
Okay.
You're back.
So by week 3, we had raised enough money to move into a commercial kitchen. And then, yeah, it literally skyrocketed from the start.
Sorry, did you say week 3 you were able, or month 3 you were able to have?
So I meant month 3.
Wow.
So by month 3, we were able to have enough money for our commercial kitchen. So we started Hot and Juicy on nothing, no investment. We literally built it off pre-orders. So people would pay money in advance for their food, and then we'd use that money to build the company. So we essentially didn't start in any debt. Yeah.
Have you raised now?
Have we raised? I mean, I'd say we've made a lot of money. We can raise quite quickly from ourselves, but we haven't used any investment or any loans from the banks as of yet.
That is incredibly impressive, and we will definitely jump into that more. How many employees do you have now? How many retail locations?
So right now we have 3 locations. 2 of them are ours, which are the commercial dark kitchens. And then one of them, we have a residency model. So we've basically collaborated with a bar that had no customers coming in, with us guaranteeing them at least 200 customers over 3 days. It's a 15-seater bar, so it's very small. Yeah. So we've basically guaranteed them a sold out house. So we've got that the sales make from our food. And then we also do pop-up events. So we hire locations for the day, dry hire, charge an entry fee for those. And then, we did a pop-up event this weekend. We had about 600 guests that came over the course of 2 days. And that was literally from 6 days of advertising.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what does your advertising, what did it look like at the start and what does it look like now? Like, did you start with social media? What were you using, like hashtags to get the word out? Were you tagging people? How did that work?
So hashtags are key, very, very important. It's not something that should ever be overlooked or, you know, or not taken seriously because, for example, I'm in Washington right now and I want to go to brunch. I would search hashtag brunch locations in Washington. So your hashtag specific, you know, not sort of like, for example, you can have a few that are like seafood, this and this, but we would have seafood boils in East London. So when someone's searching for that hashtag, we come up. And also, you know, and you keep that hashtag, you have like a set of hashtags that go under every single post so that, you know, you dominate that hashtag. So like one of our hashtags is our company name because people search for us. But if we go back to the start, how we essentially got to like 10,000 followers in about, I'd say 3 months, we targeted musicians. We targeted musicians because yes, you have influencers. I wouldn't like, I'm sure people that have businesses here know that some influencers, you might just get 2 followers but they somehow have 150,000 followers, but you only get 2. So it's like people that we targeted were musicians, even like upcoming musicians, because they tend to have cult followings and it's something that, you know, their fans know they're not getting paid for. So it's more believable that, you know, but an influencer, everything is, oh my God, this is great. My hair is not, do you get what I'm saying? So we would target musicians and then people that are specific to your trade. So for example, food bloggers, like that's what we target now. And that gets us like tens of thousands of views on our Instagram videos. But yeah, so at the start, our target was musicians. And what else did we do? Like we did some influencers. But we haven't paid, in our 3 years of marketing, we haven't paid an influencer a penny. So it's always been like exchange for goods. So yeah, it's always been exchange for goods. So how did we ask musicians? We literally just slide in their DMs. Like, hi, this is me. I have this new company and I'd really appreciate your support. You know, this is the product and I'd just like for you to try it out and just tag us on your story. If you contact 100 musicians, at least 5 will get back to you. And then what will happen is from those 5 that post you, someone else will contact you and be like, oh, I want to try that out. And it's just sort of like it's like a knock-on effect. But I would literally just message and message and message and message. If it was an influencer I was targeting, so can I answer these questions? Someone said, why musicians? So prior to Hot and Juicy, I used to be like a model scout for music videos. So I had quite a few musicians in my phone book. Like, for example, Dappy. There was quite a few that I worked with. She owns a company called Young Music Boss that is a music law company. So she has connects in there. So we were able to, you know, basically go into our phone book and contact people that we knew, but also we realized how effective musicians were. So we started reaching out to musicians that we didn't know as well, and we built our contacts. But yeah, some like why musicians, aside from the fact that we knew quite a few, is because with influencers, people know that they're getting paid to do that. With musicians, people don't think that they're getting paid to post food. But obviously we weren't paying them, but you know, it's more believable and they have more like cult fans that follow everything they do and they want to do everything they're doing. Obviously, if you are targeting influencers, it needs to be influencers that are relevant to what you do. So, for example, if it's a fashion influencer, I'm not really likely to contact them because their followers are looking for fashion advice. But if it's like a lifestyle influencer that maybe is always eating out and is recommending places, that's someone who I'm more likely to target because their followers are following them for that reason. So don't just send products to someone because they have 50,000 or 100,000 followers, because it's not really productive, but you need to be specific with who you're targeting.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When you're doing outreach, do you send it from your personal account or do you send it from the company account?
Always
it's a better response.
Always the company, because I want them to build a relationship with the company. After that, I'd probably build a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Example like Zizi Mills, Jordan's one of my close friends, but that I've made friends with these people through my company, and then it becomes personal, and then they support everything I do. It always starts with the Instagram, and it's like if you're a small company, like we're a small business, but like I mean, like if you have a small Instagram, it's good to just be honest with them, because they have so many people that are reaching out to them for free. Oh, can I send you this? But it's like, just be on your story and say, this is my passion and I'm really trying to grow it, and can you help me? I'm not too ashamed to ask for help. I've asked people for help many times, and I love that, because some people won't use that word, but you use it. Say, can you help me grow? I'm trying to grow. Can you help me, please? Just one tag. All they can do is ignore you,
Yeah.
All they can do is ignore you. But obviously on social media, it's recommendations from people are key.
That is so useful. We have a lot of consumer facing or B2C companies with consumer goods of food products. And there's been a lot of chatter around what social media channels to leverage. And I think now with Instagram becoming like almost oversaturated and so many influencers, as you said, getting paid so often, it's really nice to see someone who is new and is using it so effectively. So what does your in terms of like your unit economics, and you mentioned that you have grown like completely naturally and without external funding, how are you looking towards the future? Are you wanting to continue to expand organically? Are you looking to raise? What's the plan?
So right now we are looking to raise money. Something coming out next year, God willing, I get the investment from that. But we're looking to get our permanent location. We didn't want to just jump head first into it, but wanted to build up the following and the custom base so that we're sort of protected in a way when we set up our like actual brick and mortar location. But yeah, the plan is now we've been looking at locations, and obviously to raise the money to erect these places.
This is, of course, like a really general question, but how many hours per week roughly do you dedicate just for marketing? Because I'm sure like digging through all of the influencers and musicians, sending all the cold DMs, responding, all of that must take loads of time. How do you allocate that?
So that's not something that we really do now. That was more so at the start.
Okay.
Now we get contacted. So we get to choose. We've
nice.
we've done our time with that, but now we get to choose. So right now, I have an assistant marketing director, not marketing director, an assistant marketing assistant. I have a marketing assistant now. So her job is basically to. What is hot and juicy shrimp? Google us. Well, I don't know if you just joined. Hot and Juicy Shrimp is a seafood boil company in the UK. So how much time is put to it? I mean, there's a lot of time. I feel like marketing is the most important thing in a business, aside from that, obviously like budget sheets and all those things. marketing is essentially what keeps your business going. It's how you communicate with your customers. So I'd say, so the marketing assistant, she works 16 hours a week. And then for example, she's not allowed to touch the Instagram feed. That's me, because that's permanent. But we have like set things, which is 5 story posts a day, spread 2 hours apart. So that way we're constantly into the front of people's Instagram story. So, you know, you have Instagram stories that feed down. Mm-hmm. So 11 a.m. And then she does, and these Instagram story posts need to be a variety of posts, from memes, questions, reviews. You know, we have once a week is, you know, Juicy Song of the Week. TikTok, yeah, so we post on TikTok at least twice a week. If our TikTok is, right now, our TikTok is a lot of user-generated content. So it's a lot of user-generated content. So we literally just repost. And then Twitter, we don't really get response on Twitter, but we still use it because people still use Twitter. Mm-hmm. And then also Facebook. There's free posts that go up a week on Facebook, but also our Instagram posts and stories are linked to our Facebook. So every time we post on Instagram, it also posts on Facebook. And then, yeah, then you have like the sponsored ads. We have, we with Hot and Juicy, we market aggressively. Like, it's aggressive marketing, from text message campaigns, email marketing campaigns. Like the data that you collect from your customers is that's worth a lot of money. So it's important that, so this is another thing I want to say, that even if you're a small business and you just started and you don't have a, you know, for example, you don't have a ordering platform online and you're taking orders through DMs, or you still should collect emails and phone numbers, because you can remarket to these people. So every week, we even have a street team that puts flyers in people's letterboxes. Yeah, so we literally, we cover all bases. What's been the most effective? We found that what's most effective is text message marketing is really effective. Second to that is email marketing. And then in terms of social media, I'd say TikTok is great for raising brand awareness, but it's not so great for sales. Okay. So it's always good to divert your TikTok to wherever, you know, to your website. Instagram is obviously, you know, comes out on top every time. Mm-hmm. I just feel like you need to have a combination of all. And you need to have, like, for example, we have a marketing calendar with all our posts scheduled in, everything saying that what we're going to do every week, and we just stick to it and we just cover all bases. What's been, have you found that you faced any plateaus in either your business or in social media, and how did you push through that? I find that, honestly, we face plateaus when my head's not in the game. That's when we face plateaus, because it's like your business is essentially only as strong as the head of the team. So when I'm sure as business owners, you know, there's points you're just like, forget this, I can't do it anymore. I'm tired. And you mentally, emotionally just disconnect from your business. That's when we face plateaus. But I feel like as soon as and this is why it's important to delegate, as soon as you put your love back into your company, it grows and you enjoy it. When you enjoy you have to enjoy your marketing, because it's how you're communicating with your customers. And if you're frustrated behind the scenes, without you realizing, that's what you're communicating. you know, indirectly.
Yeah.
So we plateau when my head's not in the game.
That's so honest. Thank you for sharing that. How do you get your head back in the game, so to speak? Sorry, I have a loud sound in the background. I hope you can't hear it.
That's all right. Sometimes I don't know how I do it, because sometimes I feel so overwhelmed that it feels like there's points that I thought I'm selling the company. I'm done, I'm selling the company and I'm moving to the mountains. But how I get my head in the game, I just have to take strength from people around me. And I just have to tell people around me that, look, I'm struggling, because mental health as a business owner is something that needs to be discussed, you know? And it's like, at that point, I have to tell my friends and my family, guys, I'm struggling mentally. I'm disconnected. I can't do it. And then it's about having that support system around you that are going to speak life into you and encourage you. You know, I will watch podcasts that, you know, pump me up, and it's about people who have done what I've done and are bigger, you know, huge in what they do, and just but also not being hard on myself, because sometimes I need a month off. And if the business plateaus for a month, let it plateau. My mental health is more important. But it's always about coming back fighting. You cannot give up, you know, because the people that make it in business are the ones that keep going.
I saw something on Twitter the other day, and it was like, you're not a founder unless you've considered selling your company and moving to a hut in Bali by yourself at least 3 times. That's just very true.
This year, 3 times, I said, there was some times that I didn't know how I was going to pay my staff. And this is me just being, you know, completely transparent.
Yeah.
And times that I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to pay my rent? Because you can't pay yourself until your staff have paid, you know, everything's being paid. But then it's about, you have to keep fighting through and just keep going, and it will pay off. Just, you have to like literally just get that little bit more fight.
How transparent are you with your staff during that time?
So my style of, you know, as an employer, it's like my staff feel like I'm their family. So I was transparent with them, but they always got paid on time. But they know, like, my stress, and they're always like, how can I help? What can I do? Can I post? You know, I was transparent with my staff because I want them to feel like this is their family's company. Because you have those staff that will come in and it's a paycheck to them.
Yeah.
I don't like those staff. I'm just like, go. But my staff feel like I'm their big sister. You know, I might be firm with them sometimes, but at the same time, like, I'll still hug them. I'll buy them breakfast. You know, we'll do staff outings. We'll have like employee of the month. They'll get bonuses and things like that. So when I was going through that hard period, and that was because I was actually away for something, so I wasn't as hands-on with the business. I was just transparent with them, but they always got paid on time. But it just meant that they put extra care into it so that we could get more customers.
How do you, so the last question for me, because we have loads of really good questions from our founders. How do you balance that relationship with your staff and making sure you're like really supportive, but also, you know, the leader?
How I balance it? How do I balance it? So how do I balance it? I don't know. I've just found a way to balance it because, like, I genuinely care about my staff and like their well-being, you know. There's obviously, I've had some, I call them assholes, that have come and tried to just mess up the whole thing, but
yeah,
you know, they've been out the door, right? But they know I've had to tell them, this is business, it's not personal, right? So when I get annoyed about things and, you know, my boss head comes on, they take it very seriously, because as well, they also know my story and why I can't fail in this. Do you know what I'm saying? I have everything to lose. So they understand.
Oh. Sorry, I just accidentally clicked the mute button. Sorry, that was my bad.
They understand that when I'm being firm with them, it's not because I'm being an asshole or I've got, you know, a chip on my shoulder. Yeah. They understand that it's because this is everything for me. So I've been, and in like, but when I come in, if I know I've been really hard on them, when I come in, I'm like, oh, do you want some breakfast, guys? You know, so it's almost like as a parent, like they say you discipline with your right and then you hug with your left or something. So you can't just be really mean to your staff because they can make your whole company sink if they're not happy. Yeah. So you need to be firm, but then you also need to reward at the same time and they need to feel valued. So I've just found that balance. And I think this comes from like, because I've worked with people in terms of, I used to be a executive officer for DWP. I used to work in a children's home. I've done call center jobs. So I've always worked with people. Mm-hmm. So it's just about having good people skills and being relatable.
That makes sense. Okay, I lied. I have one more question until we take this question. Since you mentioned you have different retail locations and different formats, like the dark kitchens, the partnership with the cafe or pub, how do you decide what the next right step is for you with all of these different business models? How do you make sure something's not going to be a waste of time or a distraction or not have the ROI?
Budget sheets. Keep on top of how much you're putting and how much you're making. Mm-hmm. That's how. That's it really. And it's really about how much is the location making you. But sometimes the location might not be, you know, making you loads of money. But when, you know, you're essentially the founder, the CEO, you're not physically there. So even if it's just making some money and it's good. Like, for example, our Deptford location, it's only a 15-seater rest location, but it's great for our brand. Mm-hmm. I'm not physically there. I just need to make sure that things get delivered and the staff arrive to do the cooking. So I don't mind not making as much money on there because it also gives us experience so that we're getting ready for our own location. And like, so Wood Green, our Wood Green location used to be open 4 days a week. It's a dark kitchen. And then we realized that like customers were ordering whenever they liked. So I thought, let's see what happens if I shut this down to 1 day. Are we going to get the same amount of people come in on Monday as 4? And that's what happened. So on Monday, we're sold out. Mm-hmm. And it's like a Friday night takeaway. It's a almost exclusivity factor. We've cut down our overheads because we're only opening 1 day. That's 1 day of rent, 1 day of staff. So it's about keeping your eye on things and monitoring them. Obviously, don't act too soon on shutting something down. Monitor over like a 3-month period and see, is it improving? Is it not improving because of something I'm doing? Can I do something better? Is it my marketing that's lacking? So give it at least a 3-month period and then you decide.
That makes sense.
But I'm a quite impulsive person by nature. So a lot of my ideas, my business partner's probably, she's just learned to just trust the process. Because I'll be like, for example, our sauce is what we're popular for. So I woke up one day, I said, what if we put our sauce in microwavable pouches so that way people all over the world can try our sauce? And she was like, just do it. Just do it. And it's been amazing for us. Like, you know, the Deptford location, I just thought, I wonder if we could sell food in a bar and just keep the money and they make money from our sales. And I just contacted them. So sometimes it's about just trusting your thought process and knowing that you're the boss. So you can trial and error. Something will work, but don't be, as a CEO or founder, you can't be scared because that thought you had could be your £1 million or $1 million idea. But because of fear, you didn't act on it. So it's about just taking the leap, giving it 3 months and see how it goes.
Yeah, I was about to say that's such an asset that you have as a founder, that, you're not afraid to try new things. And I'm sure that's why, like, you probably get mentally exhausted too, because you're coming up with new ideas. And so you have to be in a good headspace to have that sort of creativity. Okay, now we're going to take some questions from the chat. Some of them you've already answered. And so you touched on this, but maybe you could expand a little bit. How do you know which hashtags to use?
I put myself into the consumer seat. So if I was looking for me, what would I look for? For example, if you have what does someone have here? For example, say you have a farm and you sell, farm meals or something, I'd say hashtag organic chicken or something, or organic farms, or organic farm food, or farm food in London, or, just things like that. For example, if I had like a clothing line and I sold tracksuits, I'd say tracksuits for women in the UK, fitted tracksuits for women in the UK, tracksuits that accentuate your figure in the UK. I'd like think of things that my customer would be looking for, as opposed to what I don't know how to say. Like I would take my head self out of the business head and into the customer seat, and just hashtag how the customer can find me.
Okay. That makes sense. Do you know what checks you should do to see if an influencer has bot followers or if they have genuine engagement? Good question.
Yeah, you can check their so you can ask them for their insights. But I've just learned that actually means nothing. You can ask them for their insights. Also, one thing I try to gauge is how good they are with their communication with me, because there's nothing worse than sending an influencer a product and they just ghost you and there's nothing to show for it. So it's how they communicate with me, obviously how many followers they have, but what's more important is their engagement. So do they get a lot of likes? Do they get a lot of comments? If they do get a lot of comments, check the comments and see what type of comments are they. Because there was one influencer that had 1 million followers, and they had 1 million followers and they were getting loads of likes. But I checked their comments and the comments looked, it didn't look real. So I just sort of passed on that, because in the past that I've worked with people that have done that, and I've literally got nothing from the collaboration. But also some collaborations, it might also be just for you to be able to get that user generated content. So they may not have huge engagement, but they take great content. They shoot great reels. They show using the product, and you like how they shoot it. And it can just be a way for you to get, send some products to them, and then you've got some content for your Instagram.
That makes sense. Okay, do you have a TikTok account too? You touched a little on this. Or do you have any opinion on choosing Instagram or TikTok when you're first choosing a platform?
I'd say you need to use both. I feel like Instagram is more important than TikTok. But obviously we're moving into quite a TikTok era with everyone's on TikTok. But the thing with TikTok is it doesn't get you as many sales as Instagram does. TikTok is great for raising brand awareness. I'm trying to figure out how to use this. So I feel like maybe my opinion's a bit biased because I've done so well on Instagram. But I know TikTok, I tried to set up an online shop on TikTok, but I'm so, Instagram head that I'm trying to understand TikTok better. But I know that TikTok is this online shop thing that you can do lives and sell products through it. So that's something that I need to learn about.
Okay. 3 questions from Natalie. I'll give them to you all as like a rapid fire. First question, do you think stories or reels are more valuable?
Stories extremely valuable, because stories is how you can stay in your customer's face, basically. But it's also about how you use your stories. So like I said, we post 5 times a day, every 2 hours. So that way we're constantly jumping to the front. Do not post 10 posts on a story all at once, because within an hour you're going to be all the way down at the end and they're never going to see you, and they'll probably get bored tapping through all of your posts. So we post, like I said, every 2 hours 5 times a day. And then reels on Instagram are amazing, especially if you can get a collaborative reel with an influencer or like a food blogger or something. They're amazing for getting, you know, the views in and the sales in. But on reels, it's good to use trending songs. I know on business Instagrams, you can't use, it's like on Instagram, you can't actually use a trending song on your reel. But what you can do, something that a lot of DJs are doing, is they're creating their own beats. Well, not beats, but they're like merging songs together, and you can use those. So what you can do,
Why can't you use trending songs?
I don't know. It's really weird. I'm not sure why, but when I've tried to use it, unless someone knows a way around this,
no.
I think so, because it's a business. But when you try to, like on your personal one, you can create reels using, you know, you adding a sound from, like, for example, a song that's trending that right now is Cuff It by Beyonce. That's, if you attach that to your video on TikTok, you'll get thousands of views. But on your business Instagram, you can't actually use that. So what you can do is search like a hashtag similar to yours, find a reel that is, you know, what you're doing, see what song they're using that is trending, and just use it.
That's so crazy. Weird. That's so bizarre that businesses can't do that. Okay, good question. How much of the content has to be original versus third party? And then how do you capture your emails and mobile numbers?
So how much is original / third party? It's a combination. Customers love user-generated content. User-generated content will get you loads of sales, especially content that evokes a feeling or a reaction, you know, not just a picture like this, but if someone's like, it's a different story on the other end. Like, for example, food. You take a picture of like a McDonald's bag, it's just a McDonald's bag. But if you take a picture and someone's taking a big bite into it, and it's like there's like juice dripping from the side of their mouth, people are like, oh my God, they buy that burger because they want to feel that. So if we can get that content from people, great, but we also shoot that ourselves. So we use a combination of, you know, content from our followers so that people can see it's someone like me, you know, the everyday person is enjoying this product. You know, professional photographers are amazing, but you want to have a mixture of professional pictures and, you know, user-generated content, but also videos that you shoot on your phone as the founder, like even if it's just the creating of that's a whole nother topic. Like creating the content, just a variety of telling the story throughout your page. I don't know what the second question was.
Second question. Actually, I read this morning that when your body senses food, either sees it in a photo, smells it, is near it, there's apparently 400 chemical reactions that your body has without even consuming it. And so capturing that on photos and everything, people have like a legitimate chemical reaction to it. It's crazy. Good industry to be in for marketing that. Okay, the question was, how do you data capture your emails and mobile numbers?
Okay, so on our website, well, firstly, mobile numbers, we have the ordering platform that we use. You have to enter your phone number to order. Okay. And then obviously they sign up for text message marketing, and that adds to our data. When people book tables at our events, they need to submit all that information, obviously agree to the data. We put all this, I use a email marketing site called Sendinblue. It's the cheapest one. Obviously you can use Klaviyo, all those ones, they're expensive, but as a small business, Sendinblue is the cheapest. I think we pay like £40 a month for 60,000 emails. Yeah, it's cheaper than the other platforms. So how else we capture it? We use a site called Jotform.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you heard of Jotform. I mean, there's a free option. You just have to keep creating a new form after it's filled up to 100. You know, you have to save money as a small business. We use Jotform, put it on our story, be like, would you like to attend our next event? You know, enter your details here. We take those emails, pop it into our email database. And then also on our website, on Shopify, we have, I can't remember what the application's called, I can check, on our Shopify. So it's basically when you come onto the site, it's like spin the wheel for a discount code. And then to get your discount code, you need to submit your email. Voila, more emails. So it's just about using different techniques to get the emails and phone numbers. But as I said, from the start, when we used to take orders through Instagram DMs, you know, in order to place your order, we need your email address and your phone number. So we've still got that data from 3 years ago. So we can really target all of these customers.
Okay, just a quick reminder, if anyone wants to ask a question live, to just use the raise hand function. Okay, next question. Is there anything you've tried as a marketing message or a channel that has not worked?
They've all worked. I mean, they've all pretty much worked, but it's about which has been most successful, because it's like, and it also depends on what you class as working. Do you class working as raising brand awareness or making actual sales? Because all of the platforms will raise brand awareness, so they'll all work, but it's about which makes more sales. But it's also about what you put online, what you put within for example, if you do a sponsored ad on Instagram, what is within the ad? I'd say the one that's least effective for me was probably Snapchat.
Okay.
So it was the least effective.
This leads perfectly to the next question, which is, what kind of conversion do you get or should be expected from a social post? Like, what's your North Star metric?
I don't have one. Social media is quite unpredictable. So I don't have one. I just target it at all angles because it's quite unpredictable. Okay. Also depends on like the time of the month that you post. because some people think, targeting on payday is great, but targeting before payday is actually better, like the day before, because people were like, okay, well, I can just spend this money because I'm getting more money tomorrow. But on payday, it's like, oh no, I've got my bills to come, I need to budget it. So it's like we target the weekend before payday, and it's like let the little bit extra cash you have, spend it, and it's done. Yeah. But in terms of metrics, no, we monitor it. So we'll see, from for example, if we have a discount code, we'll see what like order of marketing, like we'll sort of monitor it, how much was actually spent on that discount code, how many clicks we got on certain things, what was the messaging like within that email, and how can we, what, like at the end of like every 2 months, we'll go back in and look over, like for example, the email marketing, and see what form of messaging was most effective, and then work around that. But for us, it's a lot of like just building as we go and just really enjoying the process.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Okay, how many times a day would you suggest a B2B company posting? And actually, I'll just expand on that. Are there any tips that you'd have for B2B companies or stuff that you've shared today that you think might not be as relevant for B2B companies?
Business, so B2B, I don't know. I feel like, so we haven't, well, B2B, I guess our B2B has just been calling up stockists, like fishmongers, to stock our source. But what do you mean in terms of posting on social media for B2B?
Yeah, like if you were, let's say, like a software provider or like a cyber tech startup, and you wanted to use social media, do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, I'd say post at least once a day or every other day, and obviously have story posts, build up a brand story, because even in B2B, the other businesses will still look into you and see what are they about. Do they have a presence? Who are they? And it's like through your social media, you can build up a story about yourself, so that people can look at it in a glance and understand what your company is. So I'd say as B2B, obviously you still need to post. It's not as aggressive as B2C, but still post, have, the highlights on the top of your page of frequently asked questions. Who are we? What are we about? Make sure that, your socials are in line with your website.
All right,
so that you just have an overall brand presence.
Okay, are there any other last questions? Either pop it in the chat now, raise your hand. In the meantime, I would say, where's the best place to find out more? But I think everyone should know the answer to that now, and that's follow them on Instagram.
So Instagram, we are Hot and Juicy Shrimp London, LDN. So that's hot, the and is an N. So Hot and Juicy Shrimp LDN. And that's us on Instagram. You can find me on social media, Samantha Pascal. My social media handle is Coco Pascal, but that's from university times, but I haven't changed it. Stay true to the name. That's Ko Pascal on Instagram, and obviously LinkedIn, Samantha Pascal. And yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it's okay. I chose my Instagram and my Twitter name, Queen Margarita C, when I was like 18, and it still haunts me. So I mean,
I've thought about changing it, but I'm like, I don't want someone else to take that name.
I know, it's part of your identity now.
I'm just gonna ride it out, because I'm not ready to let go. I'm holding on to my youth.
I feel you. Oh, thank you so much. Patty and I will definitely need to come by and try some very soon, because it sounds absolutely delicious. And thank you for your time. I know that you are away right now, so appreciate you waking up early to join us.
That's okay. It's 9 a.m. here anyway, so yeah.
Okay, let's start. Okay, thank you. Founders, stick around, and otherwise wave goodbye to Samantha. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Okay, we can stop.